The skull was examined by the Smithsonian, and they thought it was very similar to the skull that the British Museum had, the crystal skull that they had. That was found in 1881. But the Mitchell-Hedges skull is far more intricate, and the British Museum skull was thought to be a modern creation, that it was not authentically ancient. The skull is made from a block of single crystal, just under the size of a normal human skull. The skull seems to have been carved with no regard to the natural axis of the human crystal, cut against the grain, so to speak, and this should have resulted in the crystal shattering. But somehow it didn't. And we are left with a smooth, clear, detailed representation of a human skull, possibly modeled from a female skull. In 2009, it was revealed that the Smithsonian retested the skull with a special microscope and determined that it was made with tools that the Mayans and the Aztecs did not have, and therefore a modern creation. Playing devil's advocate here, if the skull were made in ancient times with similar modern tools that we have today, the Smithsonian's result wouldn't mean anything. It doesn't prove date of manufacture. It just gives you an idea of how it was carved, with what type of tools possible. And New Age believers put a lot of stock in the crystal skulls stories and the skulls, and one reason for this is they believe in the power of crystals and stones. Also, with their obsession with human conscious and astrological interpretations, and changing of ages. Just like there's an old song that talks about the dawning of the age of Aquarius, which would usher in peace, understanding, enlightenment, and the astrological zodiac changes ages approximately every 2100 years, plus a few extra. The age of Aquarius starts at the ending date of the Mayan calendar, December 21st, 2012. The zodiac age we are leaving now is the age of Pisces. Pisces is a fish symbol. The most significant events in history that occurred at this time for the world and for Christians was the birth, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and the ascension of Christianity in the world. Some have noticed the symbolism of Jesus telling the disciples that he would make them fishers of men. The Pisces age, represented by fish, was the age that they were living in, and this is the age when Christianity was formed and prospered. So might the turning of the new age, zodiac age, represent the decline and ending of the Christian age and the descent into the tribulation, and then the eventual ascension of Christ to reign and rule for 1,000 years. Yes, to a certain extent I think it will, because we are in the end times and right at the end, and when you have a 2,100 year window, it's without a doubt all these things will come and go and will happen before that next turning of the stars. Now, having said that, I do not give any credence to astrology or to the idea that the stars and their movements direct people's paths. I do acknowledge that they can be used to discern times and seasons, as mentioned in Genesis 1:14.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the third day. And God said, Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky, to separate the day from the night, and let them serve as signs to mark seasons and days and years, and let them be lights in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth. And it was so. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to govern the day, and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the expanse of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good.
Now, so if the age of Pisces gave us the Messiah, will the age of Aquarius give us the Antichrist? The age of peace and enlightenment will come only when Christ returns for his millennial reign and set up his kingdom, which will be renewed forever and ever after the great white throne judgment, after the 1,000-year reign. But of course this will not happen before the rise of the Antichrist and the tribulation. those things must come, those things must pass. Having paid attention to end time events for as long as I can remember, it seems that we've entered a special time now in the end times. From years past, it would take people might scramble to get once a week to get information that might pertain to end time events, and we're at the point now that after a week, you almost have too much information, of every little thing that has significance. It really started with 9/11, and even with those events, and then now with our election and financial crisis, and this, now we have this march towards 2012 date. Things are accelerating, and it says the tribulation comes like a woman in labor pains, and as you get closer to having a baby, your labor pains intensify and they speed up. And we are definitely in the process, it seems, of being at the end, where events are coming quickly now. Instead of things taking years to work their way out, it's taking days and months, and like with 9/11, in a day things can change. So this is interesting, unprecedented times. Of course, I wasn't able to get in this episode. We couldn't get in all the events of 2012. I figured it would be a two-parter, which it will be. We are going to probably have a news update program next, and then the conclusion of this after that. And thanks for your interest in this program, and may God bless and keep you.
The devil who deceived them was thrown into the lake of fire and sulfur where the beast and the false prophet are, and they will be tormented day and night forever and ever. I also saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared like a bride adorned for her husband. Then I heard a loud voice from the throne. Look, God's dwelling is with men, and he will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them, and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will exist no longer. Grief, crime, and pain will exist no longer, because the previous things have passed away.
The Revelation 13 podcast is hosted by Mike Hopwood and is a podcast dedicated to the study of end-time events, news events, and ancient mysteries.